What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be looking at the new AP Pool Top 25 rankings. And yeah, let's get straight into it. And obviously still at number 1 is Georgia. They started off the year at number 1 and they have been number 1 ever since. This week they have Vanderbilt, so probably another easy win. They haven't really faced a huge challenge yet, but the small challenges, they faced Kentucky, who was number 20 this week, and they just rolled past them, absolutely destroyed them. But Vanderbilt next week at 12, and they have 50 first place votes, which is less than they've had all year. And that is because Michigan keeps getting more and more first place votes as time goes on. They are 6-0. They take on Indiana this week, noon as well. They have 11 first place votes now, and they're starting to close in on Georgia, but I think they're going to need a huge win in order to take them down. Next up, moving up one spot, we have Ohio State, who's 5-0. They were just on their bye. Purdue is who they are facing this week, and they have one first place vote. They're not that many points behind Michigan, but we'll have to see as time goes on. But Ohio State was as low as 6th so far this year, so this is huge for them. Next up, we have Florida State at number 4. They are 5-0. They have up another spot this week, and this week they have Syracuse, who's playing solid. They're 5-1, I believe, and they also got a first place vote. But Florida State, they obviously started off the year with the huge win against LSU. Since then, it's just been steady, keeping on winning, and they are 4th place right now. And next up, we have a huge jump. Oklahoma, 6-0, took down number 3 Texas and moves up from 13th, all the way up to 5th, one spot out of the playoffs, which is absolutely insane. This week they have UCF, and this week is their bye. Next week they have UCF at noon. They did not get any first place votes, but wow, they looked really good against Texas. They absolutely destroyed them. And next up is my team, Penn State, who hasn't moved much this year. They started off 7th, now they're 6th, and they have a bye this week. Next week they take on UMass, and if we want to move up at all this week, we're just going to have to hope Ohio State, Florida State, Michigan, maybe even Georgia, they'll lose. But, we're only 5 points behind Oklahoma, so we will have to see how things work out. Oh, sorry. Okay, wait, actually, sorry, we're not on a bye this week. Oklahoma's on a bye this week. We actually play UMass this week. And next up, we have Washington, who's 5-0. Oregon, this is the game maybe of the year so far. Not even lying. Oregon, October 14th at 3:30 in the afternoon, 1,239 points. Washington, Oregon. This is a matchup of number 7 versus, well, you're about to find out. But they're 5-0 still, and this is going to really help us see who the best team in the Pac-12 is right now. And the team they're taking on is Oregon, who is at number 8. They are 5-0 as well, 1,150 votes. And yeah, Washington, Oregon, that's going to be one of the games of the year so far. And the team that got taken down by Oklahoma is next. Texas got their first loss of the year. And up to this game, they actually looked very, very good, taking down Alabama when they were like number 5, I think. So Texas was looking very good until this past week where they got destroyed by Oklahoma. Pretty much just knocked them right out of the playoffs. And it's going to be tough to get back into the playoffs, especially with the great teams we have ahead of them. But they're taking on Houston this week. They have a bye this week. And then they take on Houston the next week. Houston is a solid team, so this would be a solid win for them. But we'll have to see. That's at 4 o'clock next week. USC down another spot. They're 6-0. They take on Notre Dame in another crazy game. And I feel bad for Notre Dame because they have 4 ranked matchups in a row. So that is wild for them. And they lost this week. But we'll get into that when they pop up. But they are taking on Notre Dame at 7:30. USC has 999 votes, which is 1 spot away from 1,000. So next up we have Alabama at number 11. They are 5-1. Their only loss being to Texas, who was number 3 at the time. Sorry, no, they were like number 11th at the time, but were 3 last week. Now they're 9, and they're gonna take on Arkansas at noon this week. That should be a solid game. And another game I really like, North Carolina, who just keeps moving up. They are taking on Miami, Florida, who I think might have lost this week, but they were a ranked team. But this should still be a very good game at 7:30 on Saturday. And next up we have Ole Miss, who is on a bye this week, but they moved up 3 spots. And they are 5-1, their only loss being to Alabama. They take on Auburn next week, because they're on a bye. And these buys are really tripping me up. I keep thinking that it's this week, but it's actually next week. So many teams are on buys this week, it's crazy. But yeah, they take on Auburn. And next up, wow, Louisville is here after taking down number 10 Notre Dame. And they have another bit of a challenge. Pittsburgh was a lot better last year and the year before when they had Kenny Pickett. But they take on Pitt. Louisville takes on Pitt this week. Louisville is looking incredible. They hopped into the top 25 last week. Then this week they follow it back up with a top 10 win over Notre Dame and move up 11 spots to 14th, and they look really, really, really good. So 6:30, Louisville versus Pitt. And another solid game. Here we have Oregon State taking on UCLA. And, Oregon State just took down Utah, not this week, but last week. That was really impressive. And they don't move at all this week, but they take on UCLA at 8 o'clock this Saturday. And next up, Utah, up another 2 spots. They're 4-1 and take on Cal at 3 o'clock this week. That'll be an okay game. Next up, Duke, who took a big loss to Notre Dame, and I was really disappointed. I was hoping they could pull that game off. But they're up another 2 spots this week, and this week they have North Carolina State, which should be a very good game. That'll be at 8 o'clock. And UCLA coming back into the top 25. They take on Oregon State. So we have, what is that? 15th versus 15th. So that should be a very good game as well. That's at 8 o'clock. And Washington State took their first loss of the year this week. And they take on Arizona, who's been playing solid. They played USC solid the other night. And 7 o'clock, we've got Washington State taking on Arizona. Next up, Tennessee, and up another 3 spots. They are 4-1. They did lose 1 game so far this year. They have a bit of a challenge, but I think they should get it. I don't believe Texas A&M was ranked last week, so maybe they came in this week, but I don't know. I think they're 5-1, but that's at 3:30. 21st. Is this a tie? Oh, we do have a tie. Washington State and Tennessee is a tie. That's really strange. I've never seen that before. They have the exact same amount of points. I was wondering where number 20 went. But yeah, Notre Dame somehow still in the top 25, despite having 2 losses. They were just really difficult games, so that's probably why they're still in it. And they have another insanely difficult game against a top 10 team, USC, who they'll be taking on them at 7:30. And it's just brutal. Their schedule is insane. But, they were supposed to be a really good team this year, but their schedule is just too difficult. 4 ranked games in a row. We'll see what they can do this week. LSU, who just seems to keep hanging around, they're 4-2, up another spot this week. Take on Auburn. Should be a pretty good game. We'll see what they can do with the rest of this year, because so far it has not been pretty for LSU. Next up, we got Kansas, who's 5-1. Take on Oklahoma State this week. I believe they were in the top 25 last week. Maybe not, but either way, they should have been. But I definitely do like this Kansas team. They're very solid, and I really like their quarterback. But that's at 3:30. Oklahoma State, Kansas. Next up, Kentucky, down another 4 spots. They got destroyed by Georgia. And I thought if any team could beat Georgia this year in the regular season, it would be Kentucky to dethrone number 1. But they just got absolutely destroyed. Carson Beck looked incredible. But Missouri has a solid game this week Kentucky has a solid game this week, taking on Missouri, which should be a good game because Missouri was ranked for the last couple of weeks. I think they dropped out this week, I'm assuming, unless they're number 25. But that's at 7:30. And finally, we have Miami, Florida, who is down 8 spots this week, taking on North Carolina. So many good games this week. And thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.